Sir Ed Davey, we felt we had a duty to talk about caring for our disabled son. We're going to read into this piece from Sky News, you guys, and we're also going to read watch a longer video from Sky News as well on this. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article here from Sky News with the headline that Sir Ed Davey, we felt we had a duty to talk about caring for our disabled son. The Liberal Democrat leader and his life speak to Sky News about balancing their responsibilities as a parent and on the campaign trail, and the care is at the heart of the party's manifesto. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share us across social media so others are notified of this video. I know this one is a couple of days old. But I wanted to bring this back because I want to highlight to people, while Ed Davey does have problems and there are questions about him and his party, I also want people to see what he has to do when he's not on the campaign trail, when he's not on doing the things that he's doing for his election. I want people to see this side of him. And if you've not seen this video, I've not seen the main video, the campaign video of him looking after his son. I'll put a link in the description that I recommend you check it out yourself. But this video I've got here is from on Sky News. It's Ed Davey and his wife Emily Gadsden talking to Sky's Beth Rigby here. So I just want to make sure that you guys can see it all right.
It's hard to get cut through in political campaigns. For Ed Davey in this election, the personal has become the political. His own family's story now the backbone of the Liberal Democrats' message.
We started talking about it quite gently into my first year or so of leadership. We got this reaction from people saying, thank you for talking about it.
Come on, my sweetheart, come on, come on.
This Lib Dem film of Ed Davey at home caring for his disabled son, viewed millions of times. A carer since he was a child, first nursing his dying mother and now caring for his teenage boy.
I was a young carer. We had our first child, John, and we realised after about a year that he was going to be severely disabled.
His wife, Emily, who recently revealed she has multiple sclerosis, also cares for John.
The thing about being a carer is it's absolutely exhausting. It's physically exhausting, it's emotionally exhausting.
For John, he's now 16, what do you hope for his future?
The first thing is to enable him to be as independent as he possibly can be and be the wonderful boy and man that he can be. I think any parent would say this. No one's going to care for him like we do. I mean, there'll be some wonderful carers out there, I'm sure, who look after their patients very much, but no one's going to hold him like we hold him.
And I think if anyone who is a carer out there, I really cannot stress how important it is for you to go and check this video. The link that I put in the description, the full video footage. Like Rishi Sunak, he's a family person. Like Keir Starmer, he's a family person. But he has had many. Ed Davies here has had to care for his mother, and now he's caring for his disabled son, and it's not. I'm sure it's not easy to be. I don't care who you are. It's not easy to talk something about this so openly, so public. But at the same time, it's also a way for him to say that I'm different. That I am a human. I am down to earth. I am not just I'm not like an established person who's taking greedy money here. No, look at me. Here I am looking after my disabled son. Like I'm here, I'm caring for him. I'm doing this, and then there's times where I'm looking after my disabled son here. And I really want, and the reason I'm sharing this, guys, is because I really want you to understand that yes, him as a politician, definitely there are questions, absolutely. Him and when he was in the him when he was post office minister, absolutely there are questions. but I want you to see the human side of Sir Ed Davey as well.
That's why it's easier just to focus on the immediate, isn't it? And the practical. And you can have all sorts of legal ideas. I'm also a solicitor. I've trusts and all of that, but actually it's what you've got to have as a caring community, a caring society, and that's the best hope for the future.
A small party, it's hard for the Lib Dems to grab attention. But after years in something of a political wilderness, Ed Davey has at least won an audience. The big question now is whether it will help the Lib Dems clean up in the Blue Wall battlegrounds come July the 4th. Beth Rigby, Sky News.
I think, seeing him there and seeing some of that footage really is quite powerful. And, some of these, I get how people feel that, a lot of the stunts and a lot of things that he's been doing is obviously, it can see a bit goofy and all that kind of stuff. But a part of it is, and I've talked about this before, guys, when the start of the campaign, because I covered quite a lot of the bits around the Lib Dems, and I've been a bit quiet, I would say, the last week or two about Lib Dems in terms of content. And I wanted to get at least one more content out on the Lib Dems before the general election for you guys. And we can laugh and joke about all these things, but the reality is that they haven't been getting as much attention as the two main parties, and Reform have just been dominating the newspapers. They dominate the newspapers, Reform, with their rhetoric, with Nigel Farage and whatnot. And I really feel that, I don't need to talk too much about Reform and Nigel Farage. I mean, I'll do some short videos, but I don't feel sometimes I need to talk as much about it. But parties like the Lib Dems, parties like the Greens, they don't always get as much coverage as I've said before. And I think if you are obviously someone who is struggling a little bit, I hope that you can resonate a little bit with him. Maybe you don't so much with the party, but at least want people to know that Ed Davey, he's not just some wealthy man sitting in his mansion, £500,000 million mansion somewhere away. No, there he is with his wife, taking care of his disabled son. Him doing that, And I think that context is really important to remind us of, not all politicians are the same. They're not. Watch the video. The link is in the description. And you're going to tell me that all politicians are heartless and gutless and carelessness? No, I don't buy that. Do politicians make mistakes? Absolutely. Do politicians lie? Absolutely. Are some politicians corrupt? Absolutely. But are all politicians like that? No, I don't think they are. I really don't. And stories like this, and I really admire them for sharing this story and being so open about it, because we need to remind ourselves that that politicians can be humans too. And I think that's really, really important. So it's hard for politicians to cut through. It's even harder when you are leading the fourth largest party in Parliament with only 11 MPs. So how do you insert yourself into a conversation that's happening largely between the Conservatives and Labour, with a sprinkling of Reform's Nigel Farage in the mix? Well, Liberal Democrat leader Sir Ed Davey has done it in two ways. The first, though, endless silly stunts, be it repeatedly falling off a paddleboard or Lake Windermere or riding a giant waterslide in his swimming trunks in Somerset. But the second, and a far more profound way, is to reach voters who have been opened up about his own childhood, caring for his dying mother, and now as a father himself, raising a disabled son. The decision to make a highly personal election broadcast, which showed Sir Ed at home with his 16-year-old son, John, as well as footage of him and his childhood home in Nottingham, talking about his mother's dying of breast cancer when he was 15, has in part been to highlight the world of carers. But it has also been to try and show a side of his potential leader, this potential leader the electorate doesn't know. Since the short film was released 3 weeks ago, it has been viewed over 6.4 million times on the leader's X feed. That's what you call cut through. In an interview with Sky News at the Davies home in Kingston, Sir Ed and his wife Emily Gadsden explained that revealing the caring responsibilities that they both shared at home for John, who was an undiagnosed neurological condition that needs round-the-clock care, was a gradual thing. We started talking about it quite gently in the first year or so as leadership, and when we got this reaction, people said thank you for talking about it. And we felt we had a duty to, explained Sir Ed Davey as he sat holding Emily's hand in their back garden. I've talked more about my whole life as a carer because I've lost my father when I was 4. So my mum was a widow, aged 36, with 3 boys under 10, and she got ill. When I was 9, she told us she had breast cancer, and my little brother and I nursed her until she died when I was 15, so I was a young carer. And then we had our first child, John, so we realised after about a year he was going to be severely disabled, so I had a caring role in a different way of life, and it's quite clear millions of others do so too. Carers take a huge burden off the NHS but get very little support and they're not recognised, and it has almost become part of our political thinking. So to talk about our experience and hopefully touch people's lives, but also make a very serious point. People need the care and support when they're caring, but also if they do, it can be good for the rest of society. Emily, who is also a local Lib Dem councillor, said she doesn't use social media, but wasn't surprised what the film of Sir Ed at Home with John went viral. I think I can understand why people are being attached by it, because I'm sure so many people have had similar experiences, or a member of their family had a similar experience, so you can understand why it touches people in so many different ways, she said. But as I say, we're not unique in any way, shape or form. This story is, or what happens to people when they have this experience, is never told, never spoken about. It's, people just get on with it. A lot of things about being a carer is absolutely exhausting. It's physically exhausting, it's emotionally exhausting. But by the end of the day, you're finished, and 9 p.m. you're absolutely finished. So your voice is not going to be heard because you're just exhausted. Having told their story, Sir Ed has put health and care at the heart of the Lib Dems manifesto launched a few weeks ago with an £8 billion package of services in England. Plans include giving everyone the right to see a GP within 7 days, as well as free personal care for older and disabled people at home. Sir Ed said the proposal would be funded by reversing tax cuts for banks, closing tax loopholes and exploited by the wealthiest individuals, which he claimed would raise £7.2 billion. He told me this could be achieved by investing £1 billion in HMRC processes, although independent experts have been less sure, with the IFS think tank saying there is uncertainty about whether the more resources into tax collectors could really be squeezed out much more. With the Lib Dems eyeing a return to being the third largest party in Parliament once more, and the latest MIP polls putting them on more than 48 seats, Sir Ed said he wanted to champion carers and social care into the next Parliament, and wanted to see a cross-party commission to tackle social care issues once and for all. This is a big issue, a long-term issue, he said. We need some proper work where people come around the table and say, we have to do this, there are consequences. And we're all going to sign up to it. And I think if you don't do that, you won't get a political commitment, you won't get consensus. And you won't bring people with you. As for this campaign, the Lib Dem leader has come under some criticism for all the stunts he's pulled off, with questions around whether in the quest for more exposure, he was throwing away credibility. So Ed rejected that, telling me that people were fed up with politicians. And he added, I think the public are disillusioned. Politicians haven't reached out to people. And I think by showing that you're a normal person, whether it's the stunts or having fun, as well as a serious message, and about the stuff of being a carer, I think it shows I get it. Another question mark over the Lib Dems is their record in government in the coalition lids, as the party who propped up the Conservatives and went along for the austerity cuts. Sir Ed Davey faced difficult questions over it from a live audience at BBC Question Time event last week. Asked if he regretted going to coalition, he demuttered and talked about what he thought the Lib Dems achieved in government, be it progress on renewable energy and same-sex marriage. You know what? I honestly think he should have said, yeah, you know what, it was wrong. I think he should have said that. I think a lot more people would be more forgiving of the Lib Dems if they admitted they should never have got into coalition with the Conservatives. I generally think that. I think just ignoring it's not helping. But he also acknowledged the experience broke the bond of trust between his party and the public, which has taken years to build. In 2010, Nick claimed the Dems had 57 MPs in the 2019 election. The party had its worst performance yet and returned just 8 MPs. They got to 11 by the end of Parliament via by-elections. You know, I lost my seat in 2015, said Sir Ed. When I became leader, I said to the party, we need to wake up. We need to wake up and smell the coffee. People had just lost trust in us, and I got that. And so we ended up, we did two things. We're not going to promise something in this election that we can't deliver, and we realised we need to rebuild trust and listen to people. What are their problems? And so our whole manifesto has been built around what people are telling us. After a very difficult decade, Sir Ed is hopeful for this election as the party targets 85 seats up and down the country, where the Lib Dems are second behind the Conservatives, with 40 of those across the Blue Wall in the southeast and a further 25 in the southwest of England. He said in the home countries and the west countries we're finding people, and this had never happened before in my lifetime, people who have always voted Conservative saying they're going to vote Liberal Democrat because they can't bring themselves to vote Conservative. That is different, and that is why I think we will do very well at this election. I think, yeah, that video, I wonder, I don't know if the MRP polls, how much of that really counted, MRP polls counted into that viral video. I think about that video, and I'm thinking, you know, watching it, and I think to myself, you know, man, like that's really going to hit a lot of home truths. I don't know if they're going to play it again before the day of the vote. I think if they can get a slot on one of the main broadcasters, I think it's worth doing, getting it out there one more time to remind people, because I think there's a lot of, you know, if you want to talk about being disconnected, you know, that's one way to show that you are connected. You know, you're not somebody who's, you know, Sir Ed Davey, for all the faults that he has, and I know people are going to mention them in the comments. There he is, you know, looking after his disabled son. He's been a carer all his life. He knows what it's like to be a carer. He knows. He's literally lived it. So anyone out there who's a carer, he can relate to you. And if you think that this man is not going to do something about the healthcare and about the social care sector, you're dead wrong. He's literally living it every single day because he wants his disabled son, like any other person, to have the best possible life, that they can. Anyone for that matter, disability or not. And how can you not see that humanity in him? Take away the political hat and just put yourself in his shoes of what he and his wife have to go through every single day for their son. Speaks huge, huge volumes about it. I don't know if I don't know how they're going to do it this election. If they break through and beat the Conservatives to second, it may not be just because of people hating the Conservatives. It may be because some people see that for past things that the Liberal Democrats have made mistakes, that there is a leader there that has some humanity in him. But what do you guys think? Let me know what you guys thought of this piece. What did you guys think of the story itself? What do you guys make of Sir Ed Davey and his campaign? And are you thinking of voting Liberal Democrat in this election? Let me know your thoughts and more in the comment section down below. If you found this video interesting, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video. And subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you could do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. Or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope to catch you all very, very soon.